This is the Carl Miller Show, where we talk about all things real estate, financial investments, and getting into a home you love. With over 15 years of experience, this is your host, Carl Miller.
Today we learn about The Ride. We're going to meet Matt King. He's a man on a mission to raise $1 million this summer, biking from Mexico to Canada. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Carl, your host, the principal broker at Carl Miller Realty. We're Lynchburg's certified full-service professional brokerage. We're located at 7700 Timberlake Road in Lynchburg, and we are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales. Homeowners and aspiring homeowners, this show is for you. I'm in a network of the best realtors in the U.S. and Canada who operate with a relationship mindset, meeting clients' housing needs. So whether relocating to or from Central Virginia, we've got you. I want to give an update on a couple of announcements, actually just one big one today, and that is our client appreciation event. Our annual Shredding Day is going to be April 24th from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock at the office at Carl Miller Realty on Timberlake Road. So Shredding Day, this is an event we've opened up to the public the last few years. You're invited as our listener. If you have some documents in your basement, in your office, they're kind of piling up, confidential documents, you don't want to pay the $1 per pound to take them to a professional shredder, bring them out to our office. And even better, we've got, or just as good as that, we have coffee from Roll Brew coffee truck and donuts. It'll be awesome. So come back, say hi to us, and get those documents taken care of. I want to thank our sponsor, Gary's Garden Center. Curb Appeal, it's the real deal. The team at Gary's Garden Center is always happy to help you make that first impression a great one. So if you need a quick pop of seasonal color, if you want to spruce up your flower beds this spring, refresh your landscape, get lawn care advice, or simply enjoy some fresh air, visit Gary's Garden Center. Picture vibrant flowers blooming, majestic trees providing shade, and lush greenery that greets your guests with warmth at your home this spring. You can get that all at Gary's Garden Center. They're located at 794 Leesville Road. Visit Gary'sGardenCenter.com. Thank you, Gary's, for sponsoring our show. We just appreciate all the value you're bringing and the color you're bringing to our town.
It's time for a new featured listing from Carl Miller Realty.
All right, we got a couple of open houses going on this weekend, including one on Saturday today, if you're listening live. That is the 21st of March from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., and this is located at 2001 Autumn Drive in Lynchburg. This is 24502 zip code. This is a 1,458 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 2-story home that was just built in 2007. It's in the Heritage High School District of Lynchburg. It is move-in ready and available. Courtney is going to be hosting that open this Saturday, the 21st of March, and this, again, is located at 2001 Autumn Drive in Lynchburg. We've got 4 brand new homes in Rustburg completed and ready for you. We're going to host them open again this weekend. Stop by 1969 Bear Creek Road, and that's Sunday. This one's going to be on Sunday from 2 to 4. This is a 3-bedroom home with an office space. In addition to that, a spacious 2-car garage, covered front and back porch, a full unfinished basement. And this home has 1,900 square feet of main living space. You'll just love this house on 1.5 acres for just $525,000. There's 3 other homes completed in that same vicinity. They start at just $489,000. Lauren Dolly Height will have that open this Sunday from 2 to 4. So stop by and say hi to Lauren on Sunday at Bear Creek Road, or 2001 Autumn Drive on Saturday from 2 to 4. Courtney will be hosting that open. And then I want to mention real quick, we have a price reduction on one of our great listings in Forest. 111 Brick Place has a brand new price of just $410,000. It's a great opportunity. All right, let's talk about The Ride. Matt King, he's the CEO of GoBundance, and that's a mastermind community of over 800 high-performing men united around wealth, health, relationships, adventure, contribution, and legacy. The organization collectively holds a net worth exceeding $5 billion. Matt King is with us. He started out as a kid from Grafton, Wisconsin, small town outside of Milwaukee, and as a teen, he worked at a country club polishing shoes, and while there, he engaged in listening to club members' stories and learning from them. Fast forward to today, he's the CEO of GoBundance. Beyond GoBundance, though, he oversees DRO Investments. That's a family office based in Texas and managing a portfolio of companies spanning finance, real estate, and retail. He also owns a farm raising a ranch, raising longhorn cattle among other livestock. He joins us on the phone today from Austin, Texas. Welcome, Matt King.
Thank you so much for having me, Carl. It's an honor to be with you.
Man, let's start at the very beginning. Matt, you grew up in Grafton, Wisconsin, a small town. Paint the picture a little bit of a young Matt King. What was the hunger inside of you?
Yeah, I grew up in, like you said, a small town in the Midwest. Amazing parents, a younger sister, 15 months younger. My sister and I were complete opposites. She was always the intellect, went to West Point, has 2 master's degrees, and I was kind of always the class clown, dropped out of college. But I always knew in my life growing up that if I wanted something bad enough that I could either find the way or I could make the way. So growing up, I played a ton of soccer and I wrestled. Being a whopping 5.5 now, if I'm lucky, I decided that playing goalie was the best decision for me. And so I'm really used to being backed into a corner. I'm really used to being counted down or counted out. And I actually really enjoy that part. And so I've just always put my head down, stayed humbled, stayed curious, and just ask a lot of questions and then absorb everything that I hear from others, because I think truly that success does leave clues.
Yeah.
And just always knew that there was more for me, and knew that if I just kept asking the right people and kept making the right choices, that, the worst thing that could happen to me was I'd have to move back home with mom and dad, which they would probably hate. But if that's my worst case scenario, I'm in a pretty good position to take some risks.
You use the word staying curious, and you tell your story about working at a country club as a teenager, polishing shoes even for the club members there. And a lot of people would kind of find that, humiliating, or I'm not going to be in this job long. But you kind of found it fascinating, and you mentioned curious. What did those conversations with club members teach you that a classroom would not? Or what did you learn from some of those guys?
Yeah, the best part about that, Carl, was most of the conversations weren't actually with the members.
Okay.
Like, we were in this little shoe room, and they were having conversations outside of our shoe room, right? Whether it was putting on spray sunscreen in the bathroom or walking out of the locker room, and we just got to sit there and absorb their conversations.
Got it.
So one day I was talking to this gentleman by the name of Mr. Altman, and I'd finally built up the courage to ask him what he did for a living, because every single day he was at the golf course, and I'm like, man, what a life. He plays golf every day. And I said to him, Mr. Altman, what did you do? What do you do for a living? And he looked at me and he said, there's a million ways to make $1 million. He said, I started a hair care product that was picked up by Walmart, later acquired by Walmart because it took off in the African-American community. Now, this was just a traditional white guy from Mequon, Wisconsin. And I was like, wow, what a statement. There's a million ways to make $1 million. And so ever since then, I've just remained curious and asked myself, like, why not me? Somebody's going to do it. Somebody was going to create that hair care product that was going to get bought by Walmart. Why not him? And now I just keep asking myself, why not me?
That's a great story. And I love the fact that you just listened, observed, and picked up on good clues. And then there's the story about how you discovered GoBundance. You showed up not as a member, not as a speaker, but as a volunteer. In fact, you talk about sleeping on a failing air mattress on the floor. And you had a chance encounter with one of the founders of GoBundance, Pat Hiban, that kind of changed your life. Tell me about how you got involved with GoBundance, maybe even that moment with Pat Hiban.
Yeah, so my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, told me she was going to go teach in the inner city schools of Washington, D.C., and I responded with, great, I'll come with you. Now, I was combated, Carl, in that moment because she looked at me and she said, I didn't think I invited you. And I was like, well, I'm coming anyway. So we moved from Wisconsin to Washington, D.C., didn't know anybody, didn't know anything, and we were waiting to get located for the school year because she was going to be a teacher. So we didn't know where we were going to live. So I said, instead of getting a job without certainty of where we're going to live, I'll go ahead and I'll just find an opportunity to volunteer. So I went onto Craigslist and I found an opportunity for a camp called CHIPS. Children with Incarcerated Parents is what this camp was for. And I think I received a $500 stipend, which I actually just donated back to the organization. But for 2 weeks, I went to this camp and I just hung out with the kids and heard their stories and spent time with them. Well, the day that we took the kids from Baltimore to Washington, D.C., which is not a far distance, Carl, but none of these kids had ever been to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
This guy by the name of Pat Hiban was the co-chaperone in my group. And again, going back to this theme of just remaining curious, I see Pat Hiban and I said, hey, man, I'm Matt. What's your name? Pat. Cool. Hey, Pat, what do you do? He's like, I'm a New York Times best-selling author. I was like, oh, gosh, what does that mean? He's like, I'm a real estate agent. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm financially free. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm an investor. I'm like, okay. like finally, Carl, I just kept asking questions until I realized this is somebody who is doing things that I always dreamed of doing, but I didn't know what they were. Like I just dreamed of these opportunities that I didn't even know that they existed. And so I went home that night. I ordered his book, 6 Steps to 7 Figures, A Real Estate Professional's Guide. I read it cover to cover in a day, even though, Carl, I never wanted to be a real estate agent because, again, success leaves clues. And I was like, if he's living the life I desire, certainly there's something in his book that I can take. And so I read it cover to cover. And, being 23 at the time, I wasn't smart enough, Carl, to ask him for a cell phone. So I actually had to go into Twitter and send him a tweet thing and ask him, I had to say, hey, Pat, I read your book cover to cover in a day. What would it take to have coffee with you?
Yeah.
And he responded right away. I went and had coffee with him. Again, remained curious. And then finally one day he asked if I would be interested in working for him. And what I recognized in that moment, Carl, was that ultimately success is about who you surround yourself with. It's about surrounding yourself with people who won't tell you what you want to hear, but will instead tell you what you need to hear. And I realized again in that moment with Pat Hiban that service is the Trojan horse to knowledge. So before even getting asked to work for him, I just was trying to be of service with him. I was hanging out. I was remaining curious. I gave him a review on Amazon. I gave him a good review on Goodreads. I sent him screenshots of the reviews. I was just trying to be of service to this man. And one moment he asked me if I'd be willing to work for him.
Wow.
Now you fast forward a couple months and he asked me if I would go volunteer at this thing called GoBundance.
Right.
And I was like, sure. Again, I don't really ask a lot of questions when it comes to am I willing to do something? So I was like, sure, but what is GoBundance? He's like, it's an entrepreneurial mastermind group. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now, Carl, in that moment, I actually had to pull out my BlackBerry and look up what is a mastermind group. I had no idea what a mastermind group even was.
Yeah.
But I flew down to Orlando, and for 3 days, again, I was just of service and in service to the guys there attending the event. Yeah. I worked 18, 19-hour days, slept on an air mattress that didn't hold air, made sure the guys had water, made sure everything went off without a hitch, because I knew, Carl, that being of service was the only way that I could get in that room.
Yeah.
Right? At that moment, the minimum net worth requirement for a GoBundance member was $1 million. My net worth at that time was negative $30,000.
Right.
So not only could I not afford to get in the room, I would never be accepted into the room. But there I was in the room, and I was in the back of the room listening, taking notes, and absorbing everything these successful men, husbands, fathers, contributors talked about and applying them to my life when I got back home.
Wow. Thanks for sharing all that. And that's so cool. So many good takeaways there about surrounding yourself with people who you want to grow into, and then just listening, learning. And you mentioned staying curious over and over again. Ask the next question, because had you not kept asking the next question, Pat Hiban, you wouldn't have reconnected with him after reading his book. You wouldn't have even learned he was an author. He was just out there doing his thing that day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's amazing. Most people listening today aren't part of a $5 billion net worth mastermind, and that's what GoBundance is. They're running their local business, or they're putting in their 9 to 5 and maybe building a little bit of a real estate portfolio. This is a real estate show. They're trying to figure out how to grow. How do you explain what GoBundance actually is to somebody who's never heard of it?
The way I explain it, Carl, is it's an environment, it's a community, it's a tribe of men coming together to make each other better men. There's this statement that iron sharpens iron, and that's what GoBundance is all about. It's people coming together, talking about their goals, talking about their mission, talking about their family, their health, their contribution, and challenging each other to get 1% better every day. And not from an aggressive perspective, not from a judgmental perspective, but just what will it take, Carl, to get you to the next level? I mean, look at the health transformation you went through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing, and it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people who are willing to hold you accountable to the vision you have for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, GoBundance isn't just about business.
Yeah.
It's about living an abundant life. So it's about authentic relationships, bucket list adventures, genuine contribution, age-defying health. Yeah, horizontal income is one of the pillars of GoBundance, but it's not just about money, because money is good for the good that money can do. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, money won't be your end-all, be-all. I tell people all the time, I have yet to attend a funeral where I see a U-Haul following a hearse to the graveyard.
Yeah.
That just doesn't exist.
Right.
And so we have to chase more than just money, and that's what GoBundance is all about.
Yeah, that's what I love about GoBundance. Jim Rohn said, too, we are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And And that's sort of the whole, Go Abundance is about, you mentioned it, wealth, health, relationships, adventure, legacy, contribution. And where do you see most high-achieving men, especially falling short when they optimize for only one dimension as for keeping a balanced dimension in life? Like, where do most high-achieving men fall short when they optimize on one dimension only?
Most often it's in their relationship. And it's just a ceiling that they have in their life currently because they just didn't know another opportunity existed. Like, I just had the opportunity to meet one of the grandsons of the Pitcairn family. I mean, these are the founders of the Pittsburgh Plate Glass Company.
Yeah.
They have 800 people inside of their family office structure.
Oh, my gosh.
And these people are all about living an abundant life. But if I didn't meet Andrew, I would have never thought what his family has done and what they've accomplished was possible for me. So the ceiling in our life is oftentimes set by the people we're surrounded by or the environment we're in. And getting around like-minded people that are just up to really cool things raises your ceiling, challenges you in different ways because you see a possibility that you didn't know existed before. And oftentimes that's the only permission you need in order to go out and pursue it. And like I said, most time I see men optimizing for business and their relationships is what struggle.
Yeah. Great perspective. Well, Matt, you're going to do something incredibly hard this year, and you're being incredibly generous with the money you're raising. So when we come back after this short break, we're going to learn about The Ride. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Carl Miller Show. I'm Carl, your host, principal broker at Carl Miller Realty. Hey, follow our social pages. Sierra, our creative director, continues to put out fun, engaging content. Our social handles on Instagram and Facebook are at Carl Miller Realty. Follow us there. You'll probably learn something, and you'll get the opportunity to interact with us. And maybe there's a real estate question you want answered or a topic you'd like to hear about. I'd love to engage with you. Well, Matt King is on our show today. He is the CEO of Go Abundance and the host of The Matt King Show. You can also search Go Abundance on your favorite Spotify, Apple Play, favorite podcast platform, and you'll find him. He is doing something amazing this summer. Matt, let's talk about The Ride. You are getting on a bicycle, and you are going to literally pedal about 2,000 miles from the Mexico border to the Canadian border this summer. Hey, help our Lynchburg audience understand the physical reality of what this means. How long is this going to take, and what does a day on the road look like for you this summer?
Now is a great time to talk about that because we're on day 2 of our ride camp. Yesterday we did 100 miles. Today we're doing 100 miles, learning a lot about the bike, how to shift, the team, how to fuel. Our plan is to average 150 miles a day, which means every single day I'll be biking for about 10 hours a day. Now, that doesn't take into account, stopping to eat, to refuel, to hydrate, to pee. That's been a real problem is peeing.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be intense. Our goal is to get it done in 13 days. I have 3 young children, so I don't want to be away from them for too long. So for 13 days straight, we're going to bike 150 miles a day from Mexico to Canada.
Amazing. And the mission is to raise $1 million for undeserved families and children and organizations. And you're going to actually deliver some of these funds in real time on the ground along the route. You literally will be handing out money, it sounds like, to people in their towns as you ride. Talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool, Carl, because we just did this yesterday. So the mission is to raise $1 million for overlooked communities and provide direct impact to the people inside them. I think there's so many communities that all of us all too often drive past or drive through. And there's people inside of those communities that own businesses that need help, that need to be seen, need a high five, need somebody to buy them a cup of coffee. And so our mission is to ride through those communities and find those stories. Now, yesterday after our training camp, we actually ended at the Burke Center for Youth. Now, this is a facility that houses boys from age 11 till age 18 who have all experienced severe trauma in their life. Most of them is some sort of sexual abuse. And we spent about an hour and a half with them. We sat in their chapel, talked to them, answered questions. Then we went out to their sports field. We gave them a bunch of new sports equipment. And then they also got new furniture for their reading and their lounge area.
Wow.
And the craziest thing, Carl, was it's like these boys they just wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be loved. Like, they just wanted to play and have fun.
Yeah.
And most of them have never had a positive male figure in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting there with a guy, a kid. He was 14 years old. His mother was in prison. His sister's already been adopted because the mother's in prison. He got kicked out of one foster home because of anger problems. He got kicked out of another boys' community because of anger problems. And now he's here at the Burke Center trying to get his anger under control. And we spent a lot of time with that kid, and he came up to me after, gave me a fist bump, and asked if I would come back.
Wow.
And I mean, like, it makes the miles so much easier. It makes the hills irrelevant. It makes the headwinds irrelevant because the cause and the mission is for something bigger than all of us. So we're going to ride through these communities, and we're going to spotlight the people inside of them, finding the families who are currently facing disaster or who are one moment away from disaster, and just providing help, whatever that looks like in that moment.
Yeah. You said in the past, if we're asking the world to show up for families in need, I'm showing up first. And that's what you said. That's a powerful statement, Matt. And man, thanks for sharing that story about the Burke Center for Youth. And what does courage mean to you personally in the context of this ride? Because here's the thing, you're not a professional biker. 2,000 miles is an amazing test of your own inner life. Talk about that a little bit. What do you expect this ride to do for you and not just the families you're helping?
Yeah, honestly, for me, the selfish side of it is I have 3 young children. And if I want to ask them to be brave and do bold things and chase their dreams, then who am I to not do the same? Like, I have to display that. I have to demonstrate that. And so, for me, what courage truly means is challenging the status quo. I can't tell you, Carl, the amount of people who have told me how I won't get this done, how bad of an idea this is, how many things I should do differently, how many miles I should be riding. Like, everybody wants to give me an opinion. And my number one question every time, Carl, is like, oh, how did you do it when you rode across the country? And so far, Carl, not a single one can tell me this is how I did it.
Yeah.
And so I just take their feedback with praise, with gratitude.
Yeah.
I add it to my receipts page inside of my journal, and I keep those receipts. So when I'm feeling down, I'm feeling defeated, I can go to those receipts and find that extra little inspiration or motivation to get the day done.
Wow. For listeners who want to follow you on this journey, maybe donate or get involved, what does that look like? Walk us through a little bit. How can listeners follow you? And by the way, there's a website, GoBundance.com/the ride. But how can people follow you this summer?
Yeah, if I'll give you an easier domain. If you just go to backtheride.com.
Backtheride.com?
Follow along in the journey. Yeah, backtheride.com. Listeners can follow along in the journey. We'll have daily content drops. So every day on YouTube, we're going to drop a highlight video of the day prior, the riding, the giving, the bull riding, everything we're up to. If anybody wants to come out and ride, there's a form on that website where people can sign up to come ride with us. Look, 150 miles is a long way, but if people want to come ride a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, like, just come ride with us. Like, the company is great. It helps pass the time. If anybody feels inspired to donate, there's an opportunity to donate there on the site as well. 100% of all donations are going to go directly to the people along the route. So if we've got $1 million to give, that means we've got to do $70-some thousand a day if we're going to be out there for 13 days. Mm-hmm. If we get to $2 million, that means we got $150-some thousand we get to give away every single day to people in need. And the last thing I'll just say real quick, Carl, is like, even if you're like, that sounds like a terrible idea, I don't want to watch, I don't want to follow along, my encouragement would be is go out in the community you live in today and make it a better place. Stop and see somebody you wouldn't normally talk to.
There you go.
Ask somebody how they're doing. Buy somebody a cup of coffee, because I'm telling you, just seeing people and hearing people goes so far in making this world a better place.
Yeah, and you saw that very clearly even at the Burke Center with that kid, man. Like you said, all you wanted to do was just be seen, be heard, feel like he's been understood. And there's people next door. I mean, it's the Acres of Diamonds principle. It's probably somebody right within your vicinity that could use that today in your life. That's good. Good point. Backtheride.com, BACK, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I heard it right. Cool. Backtheride.com. Thank you. All right, so we're in Lynchburg. We're a city that takes pride in faith, our work ethic, community ties. We got a lot of diversity of commerce here. Liberty University's here. It's we got a growing small business scene. People are working hard, trying to build something meaningful. What would you say to a Lynchburg entrepreneur or maybe a real estate investor listening right now who feels like the big life is something that happens to other people but not to them?
I would say just ask yourself a different question. Somebody's going to live the big life. Why not you? Go out there, chase your dreams, take risks. The worst thing that happens is you fall back on your face and you just get right back up and try again. And I just go back to this saying, Carl, I probably said it to myself 100 times today on the bike. Why not me? Somebody's going to get to the top of the hill. Why not me?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to raise $1 million. Why not me?
Great. Again, we're speaking with Matt King. He's the CEO of GoBundance. He's doing a bike ride from Mexico to Canada this summer, raising $1 million, backtheride.com. I want to ask you one more question, or a couple more questions. You talk a lot about goal setting, Matt, specifically creating a detailed, almost cinematic vision of of the life that you want. What does that process actually look like for someone who's never done it?
It's super easy, Carl. You just take a blank journal, you go to some open space, and you just start writing. You say that the year is 2031. What has to be true such that my life is exactly as I could have imagined or dreamed of or believed in? And you just start writing. You just let the pencil flow across the page, and you just start writing. You talk about your health. You talk about your family, your relationships, your business, your travel, your contribution, your church, your community. You just let it all go on that piece of paper. And then you can go back and refine that 5-year vision and tighten it up. If something no longer resonates with you, you erase it, you write something else. And then you just simply read that 5-year vision one time a month, every month of the year. And what that does, Carl, is it programs that subconscious mind, that part in our body that sees the red SUV when we talk about buying a red SUV, or the beautiful white house with the white picket fence when we talk about wanting to buy a beautiful house with a white picket fence. You start to program your subconscious mind to work for you in life.
Love it. Sounds good. That's fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. I got a couple rapid-fire questions to round up our day today, Matt. First of all, best book you've read in the last 12 months?
As a Man Thinketh. I read it every single year.
Second question is, what song on your ride playlist is an absolute non-negotiable?
The Cape, Guy Clark. It's about a 8-year-old boy with a flower sack cape tied around his neck, and he finds the courage to jump off.
Awesome. And then what's the one thing most people believe about success that you think is completely wrong?
It takes degrees or permission.
That's good. And finish this sentence. The men around you
shape your future.
Shape your future. Awesome, man. Matt, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. We will be following you. We'll be supporting you and cheering you on. Backtheride.com for more information to follow Matt's journey from Mexico to Canada. Donate, follow his journey, maybe jump in, fill out the form, go out and ride with him for a day or 2 or 3. You've got the whole crew, you got the RV, you've got all the support needed. Matt, we wish you the best. And any parting words here before we sign off today?
No, man, just thank you for having me on. Thank you for all you're doing, and it's an honor. It's been an honor to be with you.
Matt King, everyone. Hey, I want to thank Gary's Garden Center for sponsoring this show. Check them out at 794 Leesville Road this weekend, garysgardencenter.com. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next week.